all you're doing right now, and let's be clear about it, is virtue signaling.
When
all right,
fascists...
all right, hold on, wait. Okay, I'm actually starting to wonder if you are participating in good faith. So listen to what I said again.
And I just want to touch on something that you just
it's nearly 3 hours, and I feel like we've accomplished absolutely nothing.
I know.
That's not how any political or economic system works.
I reached out because I wanted to have a discussion.
Hey, Mia, are you a socialist?
No, I am not. I'm a SOCDEM. Socialism is win no house. Socialism is win poor.
So as somebody who would consider himself a socialist, it seems like the person who should be mad first and foremost like here is probably myself, right? So I guess I'd have to ask you, you know, why should I be upset?
At what point can I say that, like, you know, talk is cheap? You know, when does the talk become the walk? Or is there no such, or is the talk the walk in and of itself? Right? Like,
well, that's my question to you, right? Well, the talk is the walk. So, I mean, talking is walking.
Socialist means you have no money. I have to buy, like, all of my goods from Walmart. I don't have the money to not do that. Hassan does. Hassan has the money to pay his mods. You know, I do have the money to pay, like, my editors and stuff like that. So
do you have any spare money whatsoever?
Yeah, I do.
Oh. Do you keep it?
Yes, I do.
There are certainly people who could use it more than you, no?
Is your argument supposed to be the arbitrary nature of how much money I believe is necessary before we can give it to people that do labor for you?
My point is that this is pointless. I don't think you actually care whether or not Hassan does any of this. I think that you dislike him and you like using these things as vectors for attack. By the way, do you consider yourself a utilitarian, by the way?
Yes, I do.
What you're describing right now is deontological.
It's not.
No, it is, and you're not the only one to do this. There is, as far as I understand, no way of approaching this issue from my perspective.
It is core and fundamental to the philosophy that you preach and that you hold to be like the foundation of your political advocacy.
You're losing.
Does matter. Okay, so
I care about people doing good things and people doing bad things.
Okay, he shouldn't buy a house.
Wait, stop.
If you believe in Marxism, that means you must donate all your money. If you're a socialist, you should donate your money.
I think that it comes down to bias, and I think it comes down to an attempt to attack socialists in ways that people would not apply ubiquitously to other groups. So if we care about the health of socialism, which you don't, so I don't know why I should care about your opinion on this.
Because I'm not a socialist doesn't mean I don't care about the health of socialism.
By definition,
what do you mean?
The health of socialist movements is defined by the likelihood of our victory. If you think that, like, if you don't want us to win, you can't by definition. Like,
what do you mean?
Do you want us to win?
That's completely incorrect. I would rather socialists win than anybody else besides SOCDEMs. What do you mean?
Is that true?
What do you mean? Is that who the fuck else would I want to win?
Well, you would want well, historically, SOCDEMs will say we prefer the socialists to the fascists, but then they'll fight militantly against the socialists anyway. You can. Do you think you really are trying to say I fight fucking socialists when fascists? All right, hold on, wait. Okay, I'm actually starting to wonder if you are participating in good faith. So listen to what I said again. It would help if you calmed for a moment. Do you need a break? Do you want some water to drink?
Do you need a plastic bag to breathe into?
What I said.
I would do fine without that.
Okay, well, I would do fine without the fuming.
You could just ask me my positions.
Because, hold on. Because my main concern is that you're biased. Asking you about your positions accomplishes nothing. When it comes to like socialism or whatever, the reason why hypocrisy just isn't a thing on my mind is because it feels like that moral framework or even looking out for that sort of thing will only lend itself towards making your movement more difficult to like participate in and get up off the ground. You see this all the time with like woke scolding and gatekeeping on the online left as well, where the moment you become a leftist, you're expected to check your privilege and adopt 47 different fucking ethical understandings of the way in which being white is bad. But when you join the right, you don't have to learn shit. You can just be a dumb fuck and they'll just accept you, you know? And the consequence of that, even though you are encouraging better behavior from people in the left, is that the right is incredibly good at pulling over fuck tons of teenagers who have no understanding of this shit. And then the left is really bad at it. And the left, despite being better in every imaginable way, is fighting an uphill battle because we care about people being perceived hypocrites, and the right doesn't. They just accept people. That makes our movement weaker, and we're not talking about like crocheting clubs here. We're talking about who fights for the future of the world. A weaker left movement is a weaker world, in my opinion. So with all that being said, it seems like this, I don't know, this way of going about things, even if it doesn't have anything to do directly with spite, even if it's being done like purely out of altruism or out of a sincere desire to make the world a better place or whatever crap like that, it still seems like its outcomes are negative. So I have to find other ways of challenging this, you know? And the right never has any fucking issue with this, by the way. You can be anti-gay on the right and fuck gay prostitutes out in the weekend, and nobody gives a fuck unless you're found out about it publicly. They do not give a shit about that otherwise, you know? Steven Crowder fucks trans girls, is like a huge chaser, apparently, according to some people behind the scenes. So is Richard Spencer. And, like, nobody cares unless it's made public. That's, like, the only time people give a fuck, you know? So there's no gatekeeping over there, except on the farthest ends by the craziest people. But over here on the left, like, it's like, you know, you become a socialist, and again, like, why not with the conspicuous consumption argument, right? I mean, if a person wore a nice shirt and they were a socialist, couldn't you argue that you know, like, they're spending their wealth in a way to demonstrate public consumption, which is sort of lending credence to the capitalist mode of production? You could make that argument if you wanted. I've seen socialists make that argument. It's so exhausting.
You can make shirts or what have you, you can buy shirts from a place that you believe doesn't ethically source those shirts, and that isn't really an issue for me until it comes to the idea where in which you have the means to be able to buy that shirt in an ethical way, if you can, right? So if you have, let's say the shirt is $5, right, from an unethical source, but you make like $1 million in discretionary income and it costs $20 if you buy it from an ethical source, I would expect you to buy it from the ethical source at that point. I would say you have a moral obligation. Yeah, I would say you have a moral obligation to uphold that. Yeah.
Okay, so again, you would morally condemn a wealthy socialist for buying a shirt from like a typical big box store. Like if they got a shirt from like Target, you would see that and you would go, you had the option to buy from an ethically sourced local co-op man. Well, you just said that.
No. It's if they consider that to be a large part of like their political identity.
Why does wait, again with the hypocrisy, why does what they consider for their political identity relevant? It's bad or it's not. And also all socialists consider like, you know, the capitalist mode of production to be something that gets facilitated through like purchases. So
then we get into the in a society meme, and you have to be able to buy a shirt in society, and there's no fucking there's no way you can buy a shirt without like doing the weird like fucking paying for every single person's wage in a factory that you made, that you handed over to the workers. And
but you said you'd condemn
absolutely ridiculous. I would condemn it if there's an ethical way to do it, and that's reasonable to be able to do.
Well, there always is. In the modern world, you can just buy anything from co-ops. But you're literally saying that if a person, like if you saw a socialist who cared about this stuff, who was wearing a t-shirt that they bought from Walmart or whatever.
And it doesn't have to just be a socialist, but yeah, it'd be anybody.
Oh, wait, hold on. So you would say, you literally just said it depends on how much it's essential to their ideology. Why do you keep saying it's about hypocrisy and then backing off of that?
Wait, hold on. There's nothing wrong. Wait, do you think ideology only belongs to socialists? If you're, let's say, a conservative that believes that that buying goods, I guess, from a union-based...
But then it is a hypocrisy-based argument, yeah. These are explicitly hypocrisy-based. I don't know why you keep saying like it's not about hypocrisy, but then every time we talk about it, it is indeed about hypocrisy.
Because
the original topic that we were talking about was about what obligations we have to do good on our platform, and your arguments were specifically influenced by the political beliefs of the hypothetical people that you were describing, which means that hypocrisy was the element. You're talking about hypocrisy every time. Like every time any justification comes up, it's about hypocrisy. Okay, do you think there's something hypocritical about a socialist who makes money who doesn't use that money to further their political platform?
No.
Then I guess I'm a little bit confused, because I was under the impression
It's because I haven't been arguing about hypocrisy this whole time.
But then
I've
you
arguing,
have been.
But also there's like educational standards that I expect like a socialist to meet in comparison to like other people. So like
Then
for
that
instance,
is the stop saying it's not a hypocrisy argument, but then say that is a hypocrisy argument. We keep running around that in circles.
I don't think it is obtuse for me to expect that a socialist knows more about welfare than a conservative.
This is the thing you keep doing though. You say that a socialist should know more about something, but you're not actually talking about what socialists know about. You're not talking about what knowledge they have. You're talking about their moral positions. I would appreciate it if you quit stop, because you keep doing this. It's like, well, a socialist should know more about X. Why? Why should a socialist know more about X? Why should a basic belief that society should be controlled by the workers mean that you're familiar with esoteric government policy that barely anyone from policy wonks really understands how they work in this country? Your knowledge of the situation is not informed by your moral perspective in the way you're describing. Because if it was, then this would become a hypocrisy argument again. If you're saying that the knowledge surrounding fair treatment of workers is gatekept, or at least heavily coded behind the socialist moral framework, then that would again mean that your standards for condemnation would rest heavily on the ideological leanings of the person making these arguments. And that would be, if they're socialists, they're held to a higher standard. There's no way of moving past this. Look, okay, I'm sorry. We've been running in circles for a long time, and this is infuriating, considering the fact that allegedly we agree on what we should be doing here, basically.
So if you believe in this idea, I feel like you should try your best to live by that principle.
That's literally a hypocrisy argument.
Vaush, actually argue with my argument.
I am arguing with your...
And I just want to touch on something that you just...
It's nearly 3 hours, and I feel like we've accomplished absolutely nothing.
I know. You're saying that, like, if I proclaim that I'm a socialist, or you want socialists everywhere, that you don't have to do anything to be a socialist. You could just say, hey, I'm a socialist there.
You have to do two things. First of all, yeah, it's a political belief, not a membership club. Yeah. And second of all, you only have to do two things. Believe in
God and his son, Jesus Christ.
Believe in democratic ownership of the means of production, and believe in partial or total decommodification of the economy. Those are the two things you have to do to be a socialist, definitionally. Everything else are things you should or shouldn't do.
Why those, though? Why only those?
Because those
why
actually...
not push for more?
Because those are the only things that make up the definition of socialism.
Why not expand the definition of socialism to be something that we consider to be greater?
That's not how any political or economic system works. Why this obsession with arbitrarily attaching meaningless... You want to change the definition of socialism?
Me and you may agree on socialism being about, the workers owning the means of production and the decommodification.
The definition of socialism, yeah, but that's the only thing that socialists have to be. Outside that, there are just things they should... Like, you could be a socialist and a rapist. It's not good. You could hypothetically be that. All you're doing right now, and let's be clear about it, is virtue signaling. Trying to change the definition of socialism to exclude every social group you dislike does nothing other than make you feel good about having a smaller boundary than other people. It affects nothing positively. It changes the world in zero ways. I'm concerned about whatever language I can engage in produces the best outcomes. You seem to be more concerned with condemnation first, and then whatever good outcomes you can sort of...
I think that's being a bit like... I don't want to say bad faith, but I think that I would disagree with that. Right?
I mean, I'm sure you would say you disagree with that, but you disagreed that hypocrisy was a core element of your argument for a while too, and I mean...
And it feels like no matter what I was going to say, you were just going to hyper-bake in the position that I'm talking exclusively about hypocrisy, and it's the exact same thing as Ben Shapiro.
You can't complain about... No, hold on, wait. Stop. I never said it was the exact same thing as Ben Shapiro.
Every single time.
Hold on. We can end this conversation soon, either way.
Sure.
But I'll either remember you as a liar or somebody I have strong disagreements with. I never said you were exactly like Ben Shapiro. I was clear and specific in the ways in which I felt your arguments of hypocrisy, which they were, which you affirmed again many times after, rang very similar to the comments that Ben Shapiro made. I think words like reinforcement, criticism, and incentives are going to be the big ones.
Right, because they're not concerned with saying it is a moral condemnation or what have you. They're concerned with
wait,
getting to the
no.
pragmatic end. We're talking.
We already agreed. We're not talking about morals. We
condemnation.
already agreed. We already agreed that the moral facts of the matter aren't changed.
No, stop. Because we're clearly operating under two different descriptive.
No, we're not. We agreed
ways
earlier
of
the
using
moral
it.
facts don't change. We're only talking about the ways in which
No,
you
it's
can
not.
appeal to people
It's
based
not.
on the knowledge
No,
they
we
have.
did not. We did not agree. I disagreed with that because
Then you believe in the hypocrisy argument? No, I can't. Wait. I can't do it again. I can't do it again. Please.
I mean.
Hypocrisy, hypocrite, hypocrisy, hypocrites, hypocrisy, hypocrisy, hypocrisy,
The hypocrisy.
hypocritical,
Hypocrisy.
hypocritical, hypocrisy,
Hypocrisy
argument.
No.
Hypocrisy.
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 Hypocritical, hypocrisy, blah, blah.
I feel like this has devolved into absolute nonsense.
I mean, I think it started as absolute nonsense, to be fair. I just think that the mask came off, like, more and more with time. The status quo. Status quo.
Rainbow capitalism.
The morals of the status quo. Better than the status quo. Within the status quo, and believe in the status quo.
Rainbow capitalism.
Quantum superflux, baby brain logic, infantile discourse. It's the status quo. Like, that. Like, you're essentially saying that it's hypocrisy with extra steps, yeah.